You know, guys, I got a funny story. I got a funny story that you guys never got to see. So you'll remember Lad. Lad, Joel's son, and he was a character on this program 5 or 6 years ago, right when we started. But had a conversation with Lad just yesterday, and huge fight fan. Lad does not forget anything, but I'm talking about he will know what round to the second that somebody was beaten, and then he could tell you the arena in addition to the year, and he could do it right off the top of his head. Like, he is a very impressive mind. If you were to ever have like a trivia of MMA, you would love for Lad to be on your team, but he was asking me about this weekend. He's just going through the main card, very normal conversation that we have. Eventually he comes to Kevin Holland. And I said, Lad, I will always go with Kevin Holland, but it's for personal reasons. And my experience with Kevin, you guys remember the year that Kevin broke on to the scene? I think it was 2 years ago, right? But he had 5 fights in 1 year. He won them all. And one of them was even a stoppage over Jacare, which is just a massive victory for anybody to do. But he had 5 fights and he won them all. He was the go-to guy. He was as close to being a modern-day Cowboy Cerrone as anybody not named Donald Cerrone. I needed him. We had a match. It was Submission Underground. It was very short notice. And he had just fought Kevin Holland. He had just fought, only relevance being we knew what he weighed. We knew what he weighed. He just weighed in front of the world. His opponent was going to be Rumble Johnson. Now, Rumble Johnson in a steel cage, let me stop you right there. If you want me to tell you a frightening story, I just did. I just stop it right there. I don't have to give any other details. Rumble Johnson in a steel cage, right? Boom. I just told you a scary story. That's going to be the opponent. But one thing about Rumble is nobody knew what he weighed. Rumble was doing fights on the open scene where he did them up at heavyweight. He was doing them in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He was doing them at 205 pounds. He was all the way down to 170. Like, Rumble and his weight is a part of the Rumble story, and he hadn't been seen in a period of time. What does Rumble weigh? All we could tell you is a lot, but we know what Kevin weighs because he just weighed in. So they're going to get matched up together. You're going to have to talk Kevin into this. You know, it's Rumble, and who knows what he weighs, not to mention, he said yes. Kevin Holland, who I did not know, I got his number, I believe, from Ariel on like a favor. I mean, I did not know him. I'm cold calling him out of nowhere. Accepted the match with Rumble. He ended up getting called by the UFC to go and do another fight, making it like his 6th match. So that match didn't happen, but it was still the attitude, and those things mean something to me. When I have that inside information of somebody's actual grit and actual willingness, and it was not because he was confident he could beat Rumble, by the way. What I appreciated is the outcome had nothing to do with it. It was a chance to compete, particularly with a big name, not to mention he loved the platform. Great. But he was in. And that's cool to me. Now, Lad went down to that Submission Underground to make videos. Lad is going to go down. He's got a camera. He had taken a class. I don't know what they call it. It was a high school class, whether it was called editing or it was called, but where you have a camera, you edit stuff, you produce a piece. Kind of a big deal. I wish they would have had it when I was in high school. And Lad's in the midst of this, so we bring Lad down. He's going to go and do interviews. Lad talks to Rumble Johnson. Right? I started this whole thing by telling you guys, here's a story that you don't know. Lad goes around and he interviews everybody. It was a who's who. I mean, he's talking to Cowboy. He's got RDA. He's got Craig Jones. He's got Ryan Bader's, this massive who. And if you're a fan like Lad is, this was probably a very exciting moment, but he stumbles upon Rumble Johnson. So Rumble Johnson decides to stop his warm-up and give Lad the time. Lad asked Rumble, what is your favorite burger? Now, I don't know what answer Lad was looking for. Cheeseburger, barbecue bacon burger. I don't know. There's only so many kinds of burgers, but I just know this was the question. What is your favorite burger? Now, Rumble didn't hear him right, and Rumble thought that he had asked, what is your favorite murder? Now, that's okay. You got a B and an M, and the words sound really close. The problem is Rumble answered it. Like, Rumble started to answer the question. I have no idea where he was going to go with that. Like, well, you know, the Night Stalker was kind of one of my... Like, I don't know where that answer was going to go, but he began to answer the question, and then he realized I was asked a different one. Reconfirms that with Lad. Hey, wait a minute. Did you say burger? Like, are you asking if I like mustard and pickles? It just turned into one of these moments. And I don't know if I've ever told you guys the story. And it ties in to Rumble, but anytime I think about Rumble, I think about Kevin Holland and I think about his willingness. Now, he found himself a really hard fight. Danny Rodriguez is nobody's fool. The one thing that we have been watching Kevin Holland closely for is his resistance of a takedown. I don't have a problem with Kevin Holland being on bottom. And Kevin Holland isn't proud of his big, beautiful martial arts career. He's not proud of his courage that I just spoke to you about, that you guys are all his fans, that he got 5 fights and he's got a stoppage win over Jacare. That's not what makes him proud. What makes him proud is the tutelage that he has been shown by Travis Lutter. He is an extremely respectful student, and he wants to serve Travis Lutter, who is a masterful black belt on the ground, what Holland wants to do. Because of that, he does not resist the takedown. Even if you go down, you got to make the guy work for it. You got to make the guy earn it. You got to take a little energy out of him so that when you get to the ground, he's now at a little bit of a deficit. That has been the knock. Kevin Holland agrees. Kevin Holland agrees with everything that I just said, to the point they got on an airplane, he went out to the AKA in California, and he sought advice from Daniel Cormier, one of the sport's great wrestlers, one of the sport's great teachers. And he went out and he worked with him. It was a small period of time, I believe even a week. But if a guy can identify, right, it's not just where your hips go, it's not where your hands go, it's not where you dig an underhook. It has to start with, I want to stop the takedown, because I don't need him to stop it. As a fight viewer, I don't need Holland to stay on his feet. I need him to resist the takedown. I need him to make the guy work. And I tell you this as a wrestler, there are very few things that will throw me off my game. If my plan is to come out and get you down, there's very few things that are going to throw me off, other than, is the squeeze worth the juice? The hardest thing you can do from a cardiovascular standpoint within that cage, it's not a 3-beat combination, it's not throw a kick, it's not the footwork, it's none of those things that's going to take down. There is no exertion that will be more difficult than that. Now, that's okay, because the squeeze is worth the juice if you get on top and the guy stays on bottom. If one of two things happen, it will shut a wrestler down. If you're really hard to take down, you cause him more energy, or you scramble up from the bottom. If a wrestler gets on top, he needs a moment. He needs a moment to gather himself, which if you settle into guard, the wrestler will get. Next thing you know, he's got wrist control, he's got you planted, he's got your head on your chest, and he's sitting up and he's making you pay for it because he got those couple of deep breaths. If you hit the ground and you treat it like the canvas is hot, you come scrambling right off of it. Right? It's a great way to think of it. I would love to tell Kevin Holland that if I was working with him. Hey, that canvas is lava. Don't let your back touch it, right? I mean, you got to think that you got to come right off it quickly, but a wrestler will also stop trying to wrestle. He'll go to something else. Go and see what his hands can do. He'll go see if he can push into the cage. He will go to something else if he doesn't get that beat, if he doesn't get that moment. So I don't need Kevin to stop the takedown. I really don't. I need him to offer more resistance, and he agrees. He agrees. Now, Rodriguez is one of those customers that are going to get you anywhere, right? I mean, this is going to be a fantastic fight. And I don't know how exposed you guys are to Danny Rodriguez. I think in many ways this is going to be a big coming out party for him because he's going to be on the main card. He's going to be on pay-per-view. You're going to have a lot of eyeballs, going to get a little bit of the Diaz effect. I think it's a very good moment. I just don't want you guys to miss the fight. But as you're watching it, aside from who wins and who gets their hand raised after a potential 15 minutes, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to some of the storylines. And from an X's and O's standpoint, Kevin Holland and the resistance, got to use that word, because it doesn't matter if he goes down. No matter how much did he make the guy work to get him there. Other fighters and future opponents who are sitting at home and who are watching this contest, are they going to leave this with an idea of all I got to do is go tackle Kevin? Boom, I've got the basis formation of my blueprint to beat him. Or are they going to watch and go, hey, this guy's gotten better. This guy's different. That's a lot of effort. I don't know that I can just go tackle. Like, these things really matter. They all matter. All those small things add up. And I would tell you, as I'm watching this fight, I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. I think that I probably have just identified fight of the night for you. However, I'm not making a prediction on who's going to win. I'm not even trying to influence you guys for that. There's one thing that I'm looking for, which is when Rodriguez goes to drag him down to the mat, how much effort does Holland put in to stopping him?